Deep in the jungle where the mighty tiger lies, Bill and his elephants were taken by surprise. So Captain Marvel zapped them right between the eyes. Zap! So if you're thinking why they're called bungalows, it's because, wait for it, the bungalow roof on it. Sorry about that. It's a day of April showers. I suppose it's the 3rd of April, so yeah, that's okay. That's sticking with the rhymes and the wives' tales, the folklore. March winds, April showers, bring forth sweet May flowers. That's quite, I like that one because it's optimistic. You can deal with the March winds, and then the April showers, oh dear, and then, oh, the sweet May flowers. Yeah, I like that. That's the reward. And I sow wildflower seeds now and again. What I do is, because I'm digging, I sort of spread the earth around a bit, and now wildflowers really like impoverished soil. So because it's mostly subsoil that's on the surface where I'm, the land the stuff that I dig out, the spoils, and I spread it around. I kind of cover up the topsoil. I know stuff makes its way through eventually, but I sow a bit of wildflower seed, and then and that is on impoverished soil, obviously. And so I might be in for some sweet May flowers as well this time. Well, of course, because the flowers are there all the time in this field. Gradually being probably covered up, shaded by the trees. When they get bigger, the more light they cut out, and then you want woodland flowers then, like anemones and I can't think of any more. That's terrible. Campions, and of course, it'd be a great time to plant some bulbs at the back end. Wild daffodils and the native bluebells. I fancy doing that. Anyway, that's that recorded. Now, there will be some of us, I mean, people who know the Earth is not a spinning ball. There'll be some of us that feel a little bit pissed off right now because of that bunch of people from Brazil, who a little bit suspect apparently. I did see the documentary. Of course. I didn't like it. I thought it was. I thought the music was awful. It seemed like a television production to me. There was something a bit strange about it. They didn't get all the facts right, and although, of course, their conclusions seemed totally legitimate, because we all know that is the conclusion that they would have to come to. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know enough about it to comment on it really, apart from that I've seen it, and like I say, it's aimed for people who watch television probably, because that's what I remember television being like. Always music in the background, no matter what you're watching. Like documentary wise, I mean. And of course, this had been translated from Portuguese, wasn't it? Brazil, Portugal. Yeah. Argentina, Spain, isn't it? So yeah. So from Portuguese into English, and okay, you can forgive them for, you know, not getting everything quite right. I don't speak any other language apart from Broad Yorkshire. Um, so I always thought, because I speak English almost, I always thought it was totally unnecessary to learn another language, maybe Chinese, but who wants to do that, really? Well, I didn't. Because well, being British, you have this idea of you learn to speak English, young man. You're Johnny Foreigner learns to speak English, so we don't need to learn their language. I'm afraid that is the arrogant view of a lot of British people, me included. Certainly it was back then when I was being forced to learn French and German. And Buchhalter Stella is about the only thing I can remember. I know all the ones that the people say Gott in Himmel and Achtung and all that. And there's another one but that's probably not, I won't go there, no. And French, really? You want to learn to speak that language? So yeah. So the documentary, just let's draw a line under it, or just let's forget it, because no matter what anybody does, the objective reality will remain the same. No matter what any bunch of so-called scientists may do, it ain't going to morph the Earth into a ball and set it off spinning at 1,037.5 miles an hour, because that it would just be ridiculous. We'd all just fly off, actually. So would everything else, actually. I remember, I don't know where flat Earth math is, but it's maths, by the way. Charles, it's maths. That's, you supposedly speak English, so just let me tell you again. You should call yourself flat Earth maths. Anyway, he's not a flat earther. He's quite the opposite. I've argued with him over certain things, and he told me once that, but you don't live on a spinning ball. And I thought, oh, breakthrough. But no, he said, you live on a slowly turning sphere. Slowly turning, 1,037 miles an hour. Charles, that ain't slow, Like I've said before, you're going at 1,000 miles an hour, you stick your head out the window, you ruin your hairstyle. And well, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Is my hair all right today, by the way? So, I do like Charles, actually. When I say like, I mean I don't dislike him. He's always been very civil, polite with me, and I try to be the same to him. Although it is a little bit frustrating when it's so bloody obvious. It is so bloody obvious. And I think he was a teacher, or he is a teacher. And so, like I said before, they're one of the worst professions to get through to, because it means to them that they've been teaching utter drivel nonsense to children. And that would be very hard to take, because normally these teachers, just want to teach, and they want to give their information, and share their information. At least that's how it was once. Nowadays, it's just the curriculum-based bullshit, and you're under pressure. I know this because I have friends and relations who are teachers. and the what's that, Ofsted, is it Ofsted, where they have to try and this is in the UK, where they have to try and where they compete with other schools, and there's a league table of schools, for sake. I mean, that I don't know. You know, some people say competition is good because it keeps people on their toes and keeps things, you know, regulated or but well, it's what they teach that I object to. What they should teach, of course, is at primary level, at least, is they should teach the children. Oh, listen to me, eh? You know, as if I know everything. But in my opinion, they should teach the children how to read and write and how to do arithmetic, and then how to think critically. And then the world won't pose really any problems to them, because they will be able to, well, if when a problem arises, I mean, they will be able to think their way through it, instead of just like nowadays they just refer to authority and say, oh, you know, or pay somebody to, anyway, you know how it works. So we haven't seen Charles for a bit, at least I haven't. Don't know what's happened to him. Maybe he got his funding pulled. I don't know. You know, we all suspect that, well, something this massive. This is the thing with this realization, the awakening. I don't talk about this a great deal, but because it's, I don't know, it's somehow we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. It's kind of like that, but for the people who can think ahead, there is something massive that will have to happen when people realize that the Earth is not a spinning ball. When they realize that the water is level throughout the whole of the Earth, and it has to be, it has to be, then several things will have to fall. All the space agencies, that smug git, Virgin Record person Richard Branson, Elon Musk, another half-wit, just a puppet. Of course, NASA, the space agencies around the world. Supposedly Europe has one. India, China. Have you seen the Chinese moon landing footage? For fuck's sake. If you think any of it's real, you've got a huge problem, let me tell you. But I mean, yeah, I've seen the clangers. I used to love the clangers when I was a child, and to me, there's very little difference between the Chinese footage of the moon rover, what thing they have up there, which of course is just nonsense, and the clangers. Maybe they use the clanger set with the dustbin lids over the craters to film. You know, the Chinese probably did that, thinking about it, but sadly Oliver Postgate was no longer with us, so he couldn't narrate. He would have to have learnt Chinese to do that, but his voice, Pogleswood, and all that, I'd love that. In fact, there is a Pogleswood just round here, named by me as when I was 4, I think. It's not on any OS map, but it's on mine. Anyway, the 14.5-minute rule, I'll have to apply that now. Come on, YouTube, give me some more minutes, you stingy gets.